Terra Luna Classic fam, we have just 4 days left to act. Before we dive into what's happening in just 4 short days, we first need to talk about the obvious thing, the elephant in the room right here. Terra Luna Classic down about 4% on the day. It is a rough day. We're actually going down towards a $600 million market cap. You can see there was just a massive sell-off for the Terra Luna Classic price. However, it's important to note that this is a trend across the entire market. You can see Ethereum actually dumped all the way down below 2,000. You can see it was over 2,000 just the other day. It peaked just over 2,000. It has been declining as well with a massive sell-off at the same time. So it's not necessarily the fault of Terra Luna Classic. This is a market-wide sell-off. Now, what's happening in just a couple of days? Well, we have a couple of proposals here that we need to talk about. The main one that's happening here in 4 days is this proposal for running cost and technical support for Rebel Station infrastructure for 3 months. Now, what's kind of interesting about this and why I'm actually considering voting yes on this is a couple key reasons. We have a couple tweets here from Allnodes that I want to highlight for you guys. This first tweet was talking about props number 11459, which was the original version of this Rebel Station infrastructure. They highlighted a couple issues that they need more transparency on how many nodes are deployed and how many requests are being handled. They also need to see how the infrastructure can scale and a couple other things. Now, Allnodes actually stress test the Terra Rebels infrastructure and said that the infrastructure can serve as a backup option. They are backing this proposal as promised. To get our support after 3 months, you need to deliver a dashboard showing nodes with their current state updated every 5 minutes or less. Allnodes also said in another tweet that the community needs at least 2 reliable independent endpoints for failover. That way, if there's anything that goes wrong, we could actually have a backup solution. And they also showed some other information here as well. But I think it's really interesting that Allnodes is actually supporting the idea of having a Terra Rebels backup infrastructure. Here's another tweet reply that Allnodes provided to somebody else. If you know anybody who could provide 60 million per day of organic endpoint requests, please introduce them. They do not mind. And it seems like there's an issue here trying to find people who could handle the amount of volume of endpoint requests that we're getting for a backup solution. Because if you're not aware, right now we're having Terra CV partnering with Allnodes in a sense to actually run some of these endpoints, and so having a backup option would be a good idea because it sounds like Allnodes wants that, and maybe they're looking to actually step out of that role. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but it could be good at the very least. For worst case scenario, Allnodes infrastructure goes down, we have a backup, and we're not stuck, not able to do anything on our ecosystem. And so in this proposal, I was a bit hesitant because it is the Terra Rebels, but Allnodes has also gone ahead, stress test verified, and is vouching for them and voting yes on this proposal for them to be a backup provider. It doesn't sound like they're going to be the main provider for us, which is good to know. It's going to be more of a backup solution. And this is also a temporary 3-month thing. So worst case, if Terra Rebels end up blowing it, they're done after 3 months. So it's kind of a tough one right now because we have Terra CV with the whole mess around Terraport, potentially them being involved in everything that's going on, like a total mess there. So I don't feel like we can entirely trust them. I feel like we also can't entirely trust Terra Rebels because of their history either. So we're placed in this difficult scenario where basically our options are fairly limited. And the fact that the one group that in a sense I think a lot of people can't trust, Allnodes, they're actually vouching for this as a backup and pushing for us to have this backup solution. It's something where I'm thinking like, hey, you know what? My technical knowledge is limited and I'm willing to admit that. I'd rather result in default back to Allnodes and go, you know what? They're somebody that I trust. They're somebody who knows way more than I know. And if they think that this is something that we need and this is something that's worthwhile pursuing, that's something that in my opinion, I'm probably going to support from that perspective. But regardless of how you feel on this, you guys should definitely go up here, click on the vote button and make your voice heard, whether you want to vote yes or no. It's a very close proposal right now. You guys can see 46% yes, 41% no. So it's very close as to whether it's going to pass or not. Now, in other good news for the Terra Luna Classic community, we have the Terra Luna Classic burns continue to move forward. You can see today's sponsor, Cremation Coin, coming in, passing Allnodes in the total Terra Luna Classic burn. As I mentioned, Allnodes is a major supporter of the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem. They're helping run the infrastructure, they're doing a lot, and they also help support the Terra Luna Classic burns. But Cremation Coin has actually burned more than Allnodes, which is a massive milestone. And one thing I really appreciate that I feel like they don't get enough credit for is that they actually have a lot of accountability and transparency. So if you go over to their website, cremat.io, you go to this documents tab, you click right here, you can actually go down to the bottom and you can click on this one right here, LUNC burn chart. You open that up, it opens up a Google Sheet, and you can see all of their different Terra Luna Classic burns behind me. They have the transaction hashes, so you could go ahead and verify it. And it's a big step towards transparency because other projects, they'll say how much Terra Luna Classic they're burning. Sometimes you can go ahead and verify it on LUNC Dash, see the actual burn transactions. But let's say you go into the future and you want to verify this. Well, how can I go ahead and find these different burns burns from Allnodes, LUNC, these different people, I'd have to scroll through this list of thousands of different burn transactions. It'd be an absolute mess. And cremation, having the transparency to put it all up here, make it nice and clear for anybody to go ahead and view the different amounts that they burned at different points, all that information, I think is a great step in the community, as we clearly need more transparency and more accountability in this community. I think Cremation Coin is being a leading example for that when it comes to the Terra Luna Classic burns. And so of course, after doing your research and investigating the project, if you wanted to be involved, you get to pick whether you want to be involved in the Binance Smart Chain network or the Ethereum network. They give you the opportunity to have your choice, which I think is great, gives more opportunity, more choice back on the investors. And if you want to research cremation, if you also go to this documents tab, not only can you see the proof of their different burns, but you can see any other information pretty much that you want to see about the team. If you want to learn what Terra Luna Classic could achieve this year, check out this video up here, and I'll catch you on the next one.